to the top 12 things to see and do while visiting Cancun, Mexico. I'll be spending a few days in Cancun, and we'll be exploring some of the most interesting things to do here. This will be part 1 in exploring the Cancun area. Look for the list of the top 12 things to see and do at the end of the video. That will highlight all the best places to visit. Cancun is a diverse place with lots of sights to see. Unique history, culture, and waterfront on this area located on the Yucatan Peninsula. The question is, what are all the options of things to do and see here to make the most of your time while visiting the Cancun area? And what opportunities are there to see the unique Mayan history, culture, and people? Welcome to Life Across the Sea, where we visit faraway places, people, food, and culture, so you can see what life is like so far away. Well, hi, I'm Eric, the host of Life Across the Sea, and today I'm visiting the Cancun area of southeastern Mexico. Be sure to look for the map that will highlight all of the top locations at the close of this video. The weather here is tropical, so humidity is a factor as temps range from 80 to 85 degrees most of the time during the day. It's best to do activities first thing in the morning or late in the afternoon to avoid the midday sun. For this trip, I'll be staying at the Hyatt Ziva, which is an all-inclusive resort. So for one flat rate price, all the food and drinks and a lot of the activities are included. It has a nice location with separate beaches on each side of the hotel, with rocks and reefs separating them. So it's actually quite private, as there is no beach to walk through like some of the other hotels. They use a falcon here to keep the other birds away from the areas that have outdoor food like near the pools. You're not allowed to film them, so this is shot at a distance, as it can distract the falcon with sudden movements as it has very sensitive eyesight. There's a nice spa here, and at the entrance I saw this guy having his feet cleaned. One of the fun things to do here is to swim with the dolphins. I really enjoyed this, as the dolphins were well trained and much more interactive than I expected. They usually listen to their trainers, as they make various commands in return for some fish, but not always. So that kept it interesting, as sometimes they misbehaved and went out for a swim. I was picked to be the first one to grab the dorsal fin, as the dolphin swam by, and had the dolphin pull me across the pool. They told us not to help it, but just to relax and let it pull you across. I thought that I was ready until I realized in the middle of the pool that I was going to have to use my left hand to grab the fin, and I'm right-handed. The dolphin was already on its way, so I reached for the fin and held on, and then put both hands over the dorsal fin, and it pulled my 200 pounds across the pool. You just relax your legs and it does all the work. It actually was quite fun to be with the dolphins, and it just seemed like they were always smiling. The beaches and water activities in Cancun are something to experience. With miles of beaches in the hotel zone, this is a definite must with friends and family. Downtown has a lot of tourist-type shops to buy t-shirts and locally made leather and other goods. There was one mall-like area that's called the Flea Market, which is across the street from the Hard Rock Cafe and Señor Frog's downtown. It's a good location for souvenir-type shopping with Mexican goods and trinkets. There is plenty of nightlife in downtown Cancun, especially at Coco Bongo and the City, along with other hotels in the area. There was also a large store in that area identified as the Mexican outlet store, that had a variety of clothing and what looked to be locally made goods. Here's a fun restaurant in the same downtown area. Downtown is actually quite small, so it's easy to walk around in a short period of time. There was a large Mexican supermarket here, so I thought it would be interesting to see what it's like inside. The parking is underneath, so there is an escalator into the store. Lots of luggage for sale here. And not surprisingly, lots of sun care products. It was definitely a mix of US and Mexican brands. Another nice hotel just to the north of downtown Cancun is the Riu Hotel, and it's massive in size. It's a very high-end, all-inclusive resort. Let's go take a look around. Notice the stained glass ceiling. Looks like they're getting ready for a party tonight. The pool and beach area is really something special. With an all-sand beach, great for swimming in the Caribbean. Riu Hotels is an international hotel brand, and this is a really nice place with lots of restaurant options. I really liked the menu at several of the restaurants, as there were solid menu options, not just the fancy stuff, as I'm more of a steak and potatoes kind of a guy. The Mexican restaurant had fajitas and other practical choices. The Italian restaurant has lasagna, and lots of pasta options for friends and family. All-inclusive resorts certainly have become a thing in Cancun and other resort towns in Mexico. Please let me know in the comments, how much do you expect to pay per night for a nice all-inclusive hotel here in Cancun? I'll let you know at the end of part 2 of this video how much it actually costs at both the Riu Hotel and the Hyatt Ziva per night. This way we can have you guess to see if anybody gets close. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so others can find this content. I took the ferry from the downtown Cancun area to La Mujeres Island, which is about a 20-minute boat ride across, to the northwest tip of the island. The island itself is the most eastern point in Mexico. Here are some of the sights along the way, looking towards the island. The crossing was quite smooth today, and there was ample space underneath and pretty crowded up on top. It only cost about $20 for the round-trip ferry ride. La Mujeres, when translated to English, means Island of Women, and the name comes from the 16th century, when the Spanish conquistadors first arrived on the island. The Spaniards found numerous statues and representations of goddesses in the temple of the island, which was dedicated to Ixchel, the Mayan goddess of fertility, medicine, and childbirth. Struck by the presence of these female figures, they named the island Isla Mujeres, or Island of the Women. There was a lot of interesting things to see on La Mujeres, so be sure to watch till the end of the video as I show you one of the most famous beaches in all the Caribbean, and it has a really interesting feature that makes it different from all the other beaches I've seen. Once I arrived at the port, I wanted to be able to see the entire island, so there were a few options to consider, as the island's roughly about 6 miles from point to point, and not even a mile across. Well, here's the options: a bicycle, a golf cart, a taxi, or a motor scooter. Well, I chose the motor scooter, as this is the fastest and by far the most fun. Plus, in the tropics, it helps cool you off from the hot sun. Whenever I get this choice while traveling, motor scooters are always my preference, as it's a quick way to get around, and it's easy to stop and get off, and then easy to hop on and take off again. There was a rental place right across the street from the ferry terminal. It was $50 for all day, and that included the gas and the helmet. I headed to the southern tip of the island, which is the furthest point from the ferry terminal at arrival. I stopped along the way to look back at the marina and the ferry terminal so that I had my bearings for the return. There were some interesting sights along the way that I came across, as all of these boats had been beached on the sand and tied off with ropes. Some of them looked usable and others looked like shipwrecks. It was quite confusing. On the southern tip of the island was Punta Sur, and it has a series of bigger-than-life statues to represent the Mayan history of the area. The goddess Ischel had a temple on the island, which served as a sanctuary. Mayan women came to the island to seek Ischel's favor, especially for fertility and a safe childbirth. Thus, the cultural and religious significance of the island, the Mayan civilization, played a crucial role in its naming by the Spanish explorers. Today, Isla Mujeres is known for its stunning beaches, clear waters, and relaxed atmosphere, making it a popular destination for people from all around the world. Let's take a look around at the various statues and representations of Mayan life here. As I came around the corner, this iguana was sunning himself and caught me by surprise as I almost stepped on him. Lots of beautiful views of the blue and green Caribbean waters with just incredible views. This is a look across the bay back towards Cancun and the Hyatt Ziva area that we left near downtown. There were walking paths throughout this area, and there was a $6 entrance fee to view these statues. As I explored the paths, one of them led north back to the Aquatic Park, which is a separate area that charges a fee to get in but had lots of activities. I was able to capture some of the fun on the zip lines, and also several of the kayakers. At this point, some of the staff were actually ziplining back and forth. A perk of the job, I guess. There were a few recreational boats in the area enjoying the nice weather. It was about 80 degrees today, and about 60% humidity, so it was quite comfortable, as a bit on the cooler side than normal. The weather in Cancun is certainly best during the winter months, as it was just about perfect in February. I've been here several times in late March, and it's usually closer to 85 degrees instead of 80, and quite a bit more wind then, which makes it harder to cross to the island. So here's the list of 8 places of the 12 that we have visited so far. And here's the map to see where these 8 places are located. You'll notice that the first 5 locations are generally all in the same area. There are several locations to pick up the ferry to Isla Mujeres, including this location and in Playa Tortugas. From there, you'll end up at the northwest tip of the island at the ferry terminal, which is across from the downtown area. There are rentals right across the street from the terminal. From downtown, you'll head south to Punta Sur and the Aquatic Park area. And from there, you'll go on to the north tip of the island, and that's where you'll find all the beaches. Be sure to look for part 2, where we continue to explore Isla Mujeres and the Cancun area. We'll finish the top 12 places of what to see and do, plus 4 bonus locations that, if you have the extra time, are really worth seeing.